The quiet rhythm of our spacious suburban home, filled with the comfortable silence only years of shared life can bring, was a solace to me. My name is Margaret Sterling. My husband. Roberts and I had adjusted to life after our son, Michael, reached adulthood a few years ago and moved out. Though a part of me always missed his presence, I cherished our peaceful routine. It still brightened my day when he called, announcing a visit. One day, Michael called, his voice bubbling with an unfamiliar excitement. He was coming home, he said, and had someone special to introduce. From that moment, Robert and I were filled with a giddy anticipation, imagining a new, joyous chapter. Before noon, Michael arrived, and by his side stood a woman I'd never seen before. She was undeniably lovely, with striking features, but there was an unsettling coolness in her eyes. I had an inkling from Michael's tone that this was more than a casual introduction, but I never truly expected what came next. My son, beaming with an almost unsettling pride, presented her. Her name is Jessica. Isn't she wonderful? She's my wife. The words hit me like a physical blow. I was momentarily stunned, struggling to grasp his meaning. After a brief, bewildered pause, I managed to ask, Michael, did you say Jessica is your wife? Not your girlfriend? He nodded, a wide grin plastered across his face. Yes, Mom, maybe you're going a bit deaf. I couldn't bring myself to laugh at his teasing. I haven't heard about you getting married, I stammered, turning to Robert. Did you know about this? He shook his head, equally puzzled. No, I didn't hear anything either. We both turned back to Michael, seeking an explanation. With the same proud smile, he announced, That's why I came to announce our marriage registration today. By the way, we had a grand wedding in Bali with all our friends. Robert and I were utterly speechless. Michael, oblivious to our stunned reaction, continued to rave about the wonderful wedding, the exotic location, the carefree celebration. My head began to throb with a dull ache. I carefully asked, my voice barely a whisper, You've already registered and had the wedding? Why weren't we invited? Jessica, who had been silent until now, spoke up, her voice calm but tinged with an unnerving detachment. Do we need to invite strangers? I was completely taken aback. She continued, her tone flat. Isn't it a waste of money? I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. No, we are Michael's parents, I insisted, my voice trembling. Jessica seemed unconvinced, a dissatisfied look crossing her face. But you're strangers to me. Her words left me speechless, a profound silence settling over the room. Michael must have finally noticed the suffocating tension. He quickly interjected, Jessica has no parents or siblings, Mom. It would have been sad if she was the only one without family at the wedding. That's why I didn't invite you guys. Hearing about Jessica's situation, a flicker of understanding, however small, stirred within me. I thought, if that's the case, maybe it could be understood. Of course, I wasn't entirely satisfied, but I told myself it was too late. The wedding was already over. After the newlyweds left, I confided in Robert. I wonder if those two will be okay, I murmured, the words heavy with concern. He shared my apprehension but offered a pragmatic response. It's their decision, Margaret. They're already married. All we can do is watch over them. Although I agreed, a mother's heart couldn't simply leave it at that. I decided to try to bridge the gap with Jessica. The unreachable connection. Driven by a mother's enduring hope, I obtained Michael's phone number, determined to reach out to Jessica. When she realized it was me on the line, her tone immediately turned sour. What do you want? She snapped. I realized my call might have felt like an intrusion, so I quickly explained, I got some delicious treats, and I thought I'd bring them over to you sometime. Jessica's reply was curt. Oh, I don't need that. In fact, I don't even plan to give you my address. I couldn't help but ask, why? Jessica calmly answered, I don't want to give personal information to strangers. Please delete my phone number. Before I could say anything else, she hung up. After that, I couldn't get in touch with Jessica. My gesture, meant to show warmth, had clearly been perceived as an invasion. Feeling dejected, I shared my worries with Robert. He comforted me, his voice gentle. There's still time, Margaret. Don't rush. Forcing closeness won't necessarily lead to good results. Just hope that she'll open her heart to us someday. I took a deep breath and nodded. You're right. A month passed, during which I ceased my attempts to contact Michael and his wife. Then, unexpectedly, Michael reached out. "What's going on?" I asked, a tremor of hope in my voice. He delivered the news. Jessica was pregnant. I was thrilled by the happy news, knowing how tough it can be for a first-time mother without her own parents. I immediately asked for their address so I could go and help, but Michael's response was chillingly familiar. "No, I can't give you the address. We don't need help, just money. Give me your bank account number so I can transfer it." I tried to explain to my son the realities of childbirth, the emotional and physical toll, but he wouldn't listen. Moreover, he stated that Jessica herself was against any parental involvement. In the end, I transferred only the money, as Michael requested. After that, the silence returned, heavier than before. I never heard from him again. There wasn't even a report of the child's birth. A year passed, and despite my desperate attempts to call, I eventually couldn't reach him at all. It seemed Michael no longer thought of us as family. Even if I wanted to confirm the existence of my grandchild, there was no way to get in touch. A glimmer of truth. Feeling helpless and adrift, I found myself at the local supermarket one day, going through the motions. As I reached for a box of cereal, a familiar voice called out, "Mrs. Sterling?" I turned around, unsure of what I was seeing. A tall, well-built young man stood there, smiling shyly. "It's been a long time. Do you remember me?" Pretty. Noah Brooks. The name jolted my memory. He was a friend Michael often brought home during high school, a polite, earnest young man. I hadn't recognized him at first because in my mind, he was still a gangly teenager. "Noah, you've grown up so well," I exclaimed, looking at him closely. Noah seemed pleased, a flush rising to his cheeks. Then I noticed the woman standing next to him. She wore a matching ring with Noah, and her belly was noticeably large. I involuntarily covered my mouth, a gasp escaping my lips. "Oh my," Noah nodded shyly. "This is my wife, Chloe. Our child is due in 2 months." "Chloe, is it? Congratulations," I managed, genuinely happy for them. "Thank you," Chloe said, looking momentarily confused by my intense reaction before smiling warmly. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, we parted ways quickly, not wanting to impose on the expectant mother. 2 months later, I received an email from Noah. We had exchanged contact information during our reunion, as he wanted to share the news of the birth. The email included a photo of their newborn baby, a truly adorable little one. As I looked at the picture, a profound ache settled in my chest. I couldn't help but imagine what it would be like if it were my own grandchild, a child I had never seen, never held. I looked at the photo of the baby, someone I had never met, and found myself shedding a few quiet tears. I emailed Noah, offering to send a gift to celebrate the occasion. Shortly after, a flustered Noah called me. "Mrs. Sterling, I didn't reach out with that intention, so please don't trouble yourself," he said apologetically. I couldn't help but chuckle softly. "That's not it, Noah. I just want to celebrate since I can't do anything for my own grandchild." There was a pause on the other end, then Noah's voice hesitant. "Something happened with Michael, didn't it?" I remained silent and Noah continued, his voice softening. "I was hesitant to tell you, but actually..." And then he revealed a shocking story. Chloe, his wife, was originally Michael's girlfriend. Michael had chosen another woman, Jessica, and unceremoniously dumped Chloe. Chloe was devastated, and Noah, unable to leave her to deal with it alone, had tried to convince Michael to make things right. But Michael wouldn't listen. Eventually, Noah had given up and ended their friendship. Noah's story ended there. At that moment, a deep sense of anger simmered within me, directed at both my son and Jessica. Despite Michael being my own child, I also realized that my well-intentioned actions had unintentionally reminded Chloe of her painful past. Even though I wasn't aware of it, I had caused her distress. She likely didn't want to see Michael's mother. "I'm truly sorry for mentioning that I wanted to celebrate," I apologized, my voice heavy with remorse. Noah quickly reassured me. "You don't need to apologize, Mrs. Sterling. Chloe doesn't mind. She was the one who wanted to send the baby's picture. Please don't worry about it." Their kindness only made me feel more guilty. Noah then added, his voice firm, "I just don't want Chloe to have anything to do with Michael and his wife ever again." I agreed wholeheartedly. "I'll do whatever I can to help, Noah, even if it might not be much." I also shared with Noah the strained, almost non-existent relationship I had with my son and his wife. Noah was visibly shocked by Michael's recent behavior. We quickly shifted the conversation to lighter topics before ending the call. I relayed everything I had learned from Noah to Robert. I then told him that from now on, I would consider Michael and his family as strangers. Robert agreed, a sense of weary relief in his voice. At least we can take a breather. I glanced around the room where most of our unpacking was complete, a new sense of resolve hardening my resolve. Our new life begins here today. The uninvited guest. The house we had lived in felt too large for just the two of us, a constant reminder of the life we once had. When we were considering moving, we were introduced to a newly built high-rise condominium, a fresh start. We had planned to inform Michael about the move, but after our conversation with Noah, we ultimately decided against it. Our decision was reinforced when, as I headed out to buy ingredients for dinner, someone called out to me the moment I stepped out the front door. "Mom!" I turned around, my heart sinking with a mixture of disbelief and dread. There was Michael, approaching with a slight, insincere smile. "Why didn't you tell me you moved? I was surprised to find strangers at the old house." "I had to search quite a bit to find you," he said, his tone laced with a sense of injured entitlement. I met his gaze with stern eyes, my voice steady. "I didn't need to tell you. You're a stranger to me." Michael seemed genuinely taken aback by my change in attitude and grew flustered. "What are you talking about? I'm your son." I ignored him and started walking, my pace unwavering. Michael quickly fell into step beside me, continuing his attempts at conversation. Mom, I want to apologize for everything that's happened. I was misled by Jessica. You must have some extra money if you're living in a new high-rise condo, right?" Despite Michael's attempts to engage, I kept walking, my silence a deliberate barrier. Seeing that I wasn't responding, his tone grew anxious, his true motives slowly surfacing. Jessica was a habitual liar. Her claim of having no family was false. She was actually disowned by her parents due to a romantic scandal at her previous job. When I finally glanced at my son, he misunderstood my silence, taking it as an invitation to continue criticizing Jessica. Jessica came to me for money after she couldn't make it on her own after quitting her job. I was just deceived. I should be able to live in that high-rise condo too. I stopped and faced him, my gaze firm. He seemed hopeful that I was finally ready to listen, but I held his gaze without flinching. "You chose that dishonest woman despite being in a relationship with someone else. This is the consequence of your actions." Michael looked stunned by my words. I delivered my final message, each word precise. "Your only family now is Jessica. You two are perfectly suited for each other." Leaving him there, I walked away, a heavy weight lifting from my shoulders. I immediately contacted Noah. I was concerned that Michael might cause trouble for Noah or Chloe. As I feared, Michael had already tried to apologize to Chloe and asked Noah to mediate between us. He had even said something absurd like, "You two got married because of me." Noah, at his breaking point, announced he was severing ties with my son and warned that he would call the police if Michael continued to harass them. In a panic, Michael fled. Afterward, Michael tried to spread malicious rumors about Noah and Chloe among their mutual friends, but was met with disdain instead. And Jessica, who was supposed to be his only ally, abandoned him, running off with another man after squandering all of Michael's savings and chillingly left their child behind. Seeing the situation worsen, Robert and I decided not to intervene, despite hearing the rumors. A new chapter. Eventually, Michael came to us, a child in tow, his face haggard and desperate. "You must feel sorry for your grandchild, right?" "Let us stay here," he pleaded, the words raw with desperation. Robert, who had been silent until now, exploded in a rare burst of anger. "Don't be ridiculous. Stop acting like a spoiled child at your age. You're no longer a son, but a stranger." "Get out!" Frightened by Robert's harsh reaction, Michael fled, leaving the grandchild behind on our doorstep. Robert quickly locked the front door, his hands trembling slightly, while I gently picked up the child. The little one, oblivious to the heartbreaking drama that had just unfolded, reached out to Robert with an innocent smile. Seeing that pure, untainted smile, Robert and I shared the same unspoken thought. While we had no intention of forgiving our son and Jessica for their betrayal, this child was innocent. We exchanged a knowing nod and, in that moment, decided to raise this child ourselves. I heard that Michael is now doing physical labor, likely struggling to make ends meet with a job he detests. Despite his hardships, he hasn't tried to come back home, though I knew that even if he did, the outcome would be the same. Robert and I are now fully occupied with caring for our grandchild. Although raising a child at our age is challenging, the child's smile gives us the strength to keep going, a beacon of light in our new life. For tasks that are too difficult, we rely on the invaluable help of Noah and Chloe, for which we are deeply grateful. It seems that a leisurely retirement is still a distant dream, but for now, I want to savor every moment with my husband and our precious grandchild, building a new, true family rooted in love and responsibility.